So many times you hear the advice, speak from day one when you're learning a new language. But I don't personally follow this advice and I quite disagree with it. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about why. So a lot of people follow this advice for a few reasons. 1, it helps you to get accustomed to the language. 2, it helps you remember words by using them immediately when you're speaking after you learn them. And 3, it gives you the motivation to keep on learning. But my question is, how are you supposed to speak a new language when you don't even know the language yet? When you're not familiar with the sounds, when you don't know how to construct sentences, when you're just not sure what kind of phrases to use in which situations? There are exceptions, of course. Of course, this advice could be pretty good for those of you guys who find yourself stuck living in a country where this language is spoken in your daily life. Then, of course, the circumstances will force you to actually start speaking from day one. But for a lot of us who are learning this language being stuck at home, living in a country where this language isn't spoken, a lot of the times speaking from day one does more harm than good. So, what kind of harm am I talking about? Well, following this advice could actually lead to fossilization. Fossilization is a process in which speaking a language incorrectly turns into a habit and becomes difficult to correct as you go. It means that if from the beginning you're already used to saying something the wrong way and then you keep on saying it as you go along, it becomes a habit. It fossilizes, and in the future when somebody starts to correct you, it's going to be very hard to change that habit, to unlearn that habit and pick up a new one. That's gonna be quite complicated. So as a simple example, I hear a lot of Indonesians say the phrase thanks God instead of thank God when they're trying to express gratitude when something is going their way. Whenever I try to correct my students when they say that, they will always make the same mistake because they are just so used to saying it the wrong way and no one has ever corrected them. So imagine if they've been saying that phrase for years and then suddenly having to say it another way, it's gonna take quite a while for them to course correct. It's gonna be very difficult for them to correct themselves. So this is what happens when they start speaking from day one. When they, let's say they're not familiar with English yet and they just kind of like hear these phrases being thrown around by people around them, thank God, thanks God, and all of that, and they say it the wrong way and no one ever corrected them, it becomes fossilized. Thankfully, there is another advice that I find a lot more effective to follow, and I follow personally in all of my language learning journey, and that is the silent period. So this method basically means that you will follow a silent period for a couple of months, maybe between 3 to 6 months. Everybody's different. Some people even have a silent period as short as 1 to 3 weeks before they start speaking, so the silent period is actually dependent on your preference. But the idea is that in this silent period, you try to get as much input as possible through listening, through reading, and through collecting a lot of vocabulary before you start speaking out loud with other people. Basically, the idea of the silent period is to get regularly exposed to the language before you move on to the output phase. By the way, if you follow me, your ears are probably gonna bleed hearing what I'm about to say because I've said it so much. My go-to formula is that first comes input, then comes output, and 3 comes repetition. So this input plus output needs to happen regularly until you reach fluency. First input, getting a lot of exposure, then output. Speaking part. Speaking from day one implies that you're gonna have to skip the input part and get straight to output, which is a method that I do not endorse. Because without getting enough of the right input, how are you supposed to produce the right output, right? And before I end this video, just a disclaimer, this is an advice, this is a method that I personally follow and that works for me and a lot of people that I teach. If you guys think that speaking from day one is a better option for you, depending on your circumstances, depending on your existing skills of the target language, go at it, have at it. Because every person learns differently and some methods that work for me may not work for you and vice versa. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think because I would like to hear your opinions. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you guys next week in another video. Until then, good luck and take care.